Welcome to Echoes of History. For over 2 millennia, one legend has captured the global imagination more fiercely than any other: the lost city of Atlantis. A utopian, technologically advanced civilization swallowed by the sea in a single day and night of catastrophic fury. This narrative is ingrained in our cultural memory, fueling endless searches, documentaries, and fantastical theories. Yet this is not a story of sunken palaces. This is a realistic academic interrogation of the Atlantis myth's true purpose. Our focus is not on where Atlantis sank, but why it was created. We will delve into the primary sources, the few crucial ancient texts, to expose the political, philosophical, and moral lesson that its creator Plato ruthlessly intended. How did a simple philosophical allegory become the most powerful, enduring historical enigma? Before we dive deeper into the true meaning of Atlantis, a quick word. If you find value in our relentless pursuit of historical truth and enjoy dissecting the myths that shape our world, consider becoming a part of the Echoes of History community. Your likes and subscriptions are not just numbers, they are the fuel that allows us to continue bringing you these in-depth, academically rigorous explorations into the untold stories of our past, help us keep challenging conventional narratives and uncovering the critical lessons that history truly holds. Now let's return to Plato's hidden message. The enduring nature of the Atlantis story rests on the slimmest foundation of all: the writings of one man, the Athenian philosopher Plato, and specifically two late dialogues, the Timaeus and the Critias. In this academic analysis, we must be ruthless. Every single detail about Atlantis comes solely from these two sources, nowhere else in reliable ancient Greek literature. Plato, through the voice of his fictional narrator Critias, frames the story as an ancient oral tradition passed down from the wise Athenian lawmaker Solon, who supposedly heard it from Egyptian priests. Critias describes Atlantis as a vast imperial power, located beyond the Pillars of Heracles, the Strait of Gibraltar, ruled by 10 kings who were descendants of the sea god Poseidon. The crucial details are the sheer scale and the ending. Atlantis was a civilization of unparalleled technological sophistication and military might. However, as its divine blood thinned, its people became consumed by greed, corruption, and imperialistic ambition. The conflict, as Plato lays it out, is between this corrupt, powerful Atlantis and an idealized, primitive, ancient Athens. According to the text, Athens was an earlier perfect republic governed by philosopher kings and characterized by virtue and simplicity. In the mythical war, it was virtuous Athens that decisively defeated the decadent Atlantic Empire moments before a cataclysmic earthquake destroyed both civilizations. This is the central, non-negotiable truth of the texts. Atlantis was an enemy. It was not a beloved lost homeland, but the perfect, terrifying embodiment of a failed state defined by pleonexia, the overweening desire for more wealth and power. To view Atlantis as historical fact is to miss Plato's entire rigorous political point. The Timaeus and Critias were intended as sequels to Plato's masterwork, The Republic, which detailed his vision for the perfect state. Atlantis was not history, it was a philosophical scalpel used to dissect the corrupting nature of unchecked power. Plato needed an external, massive threat, a fictional superpower, to test the moral strength of his ideal Athenian republic. Atlantis serves as the antithesis of the Republic's virtues. Its wealth and technological superiority, the very things modern theorists obsess over, were precisely the elements Plato saw as leading to its moral and physical collapse. The lesson is ruthless. Technological advancement and military dominance, divorced from ethical governance and philosophical wisdom, are self-destructive forces. The tale is a thinly veiled warning to contemporary Syracuse and even a critique of the aggressive, wealthy Athenian empire of Plato's own time, which had just collapsed following its disastrous Sicilian expedition. The destruction of Atlantis, sinking beneath the waves, is not a geological event, it is a divine moral judgment. When the Atlanteans lose their virtue, the gods, specifically Zeus, intervene to wipe the corrupt power from the face of the earth. The history of Atlantis is nothing more than a powerful political allegory demonstrating the inevitable, brutal consequences of imperial hubris and materialism. Any theory attempting to place Atlantis geographically ignores the fact that its true location is firmly within the realm of political science and moral philosophy. Despite Plato's clear philosophical intent, the story was almost immediately misunderstood and later deliberately co-opted. The academic consensus among historians and classicists is unequivocal. Atlantis is fiction. Yet the geographic hunt persists, driven by pseudoscience and tourism. Let us apply the ruthless realism to some common theories. Santorini, Minoan civilization. While the catastrophic eruption of the Thera volcano around 1600 BC offers a compelling geological narrative of a civilization sinking in a day, the timeline does not align. Plato specifies 9,000 years before Solon, or roughly 11,600 years ago. Adjusting Plato's massive time frame to fit a historical event is intellectual dishonesty. It accepts the event while dismissing the core textual evidence. The Azores, the Caribbean, the Mid-Atlantic. Theories placing Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean take Plato literally regarding its location beyond the Pillars of Heracles. Yet, geophysics is clear. The continental drift has rendered the existence of an entire submerged continent in that area highly improbable. Rethinking the pillars. Some argue that the true pillars were elsewhere. However, this is intellectual gymnastics designed to fit modern archaeological discoveries, like Tartessos or ancient settlements in Spain, Morocco, into a story where they don't belong. The geographical obsession was not born of rigorous scholarship, but of 19th century romanticism and pseudoscience. Figures like Ignatius Donnelly in 1882 sensationalized the myth, disconnecting it entirely from Plato's moral purpose. Atlantis became a vessel for every fringe theory, lost continents, extraterrestrials, and occult wisdom. This transformation allowed the story to escape the classroom and conquer the popular imagination. The greatest tragedy of the Atlantis myth is that its moral urgency was buried beneath a self-serving quest for non-existent ruins. The true echo of history from Atlantis is its continuous presence as a template for human ambition and fear. The Atlantis myth operates as the ultimate cautionary tale against technological over-reliance. Every generation, from the Victorian era to our own AI-driven age, projects its deepest anxieties onto the ruins of Atlantis. The fear that our progress, our technological superiority, our advanced weaponry, our global interconnectedness is merely a fast track to moral and physical collapse is Plato's enduring, ruthless warning. The persistent search for Atlantis is, therefore, a search for justification. If an ancient superpower could possess such advanced knowledge, perhaps we too are merely recovering a lost truth, avoiding the responsibility of creating a virtuous society ourselves. The realistic appraisal of the ancient texts confirms that Atlantis was designed by a philosopher to be destroyed by a god. Its end was dictated by moral calculus, not geology. Plato, the original creator of the myth, would find the modern obsession with sunken bricks and underwater pyramids deeply ironic. He intended the story to inspire a return to simplicity and virtue, yet it has inspired centuries of materialistic, technologically obsessed treasure hunting. The final verdict is clear. The lost city of Atlantis is not a historical cold case waiting to be solved. It is a masterpiece of political philosophy, a timeless, devastating critique of unchecked power, forever reminding us that the collapse of civilization begins not with an earthquake, but with the corruption of the soul. Thank you for joining us on Echoes of History. If you've been intrigued by the hidden truths behind the world's greatest myths, be sure to subscribe and like this video. We'll see you in the next installment.